Let them turn it professional. Let them do whatever they want with the team. By God, America will never be champion. Listen, that right there is one of the most famous, absolutely chilling and defining quotes in Latin American sports history. It was spoken by a man named Benjamin Garrabato Urrea, and it totally set the stage for a mythic saga of triumph, heartbreak, and resilience that honestly feels like it was pulled straight out of a Hollywood script.
So welcome to this explainer. Today we're diving headfirst into the incredible, almost unbelievable history of Colombia's iconic football club, América de Cali. We're going to explore exactly how a team rose from playing in local dirt fields to dominating an entire continent, how they battled what seemed to be a very literal curse, and how they survived unprecedented financial ruin to somehow rise from the ashes. Look, even if you've never watched a single football match in your life, stick around, because this is a masterclass in psychological resilience and overcoming impossible odds. Let's get right into it.
Section 1. Orígenes de los Diablos Rojos. The humble beginnings of the club.
Now, while there are traces of the team going all the way back to 1918 under the English name America Football Club, their formal foundation date is officially recognized as February 13, 1927. But I'll tell you, 1931 is where the true gritty spirit of this team was really put to the test. After protesting a highly controversial referee decision that actually cost them a local championship, the club was suspended from all regional competition for an entire year. So to keep the team alive, the directors threw together a massive national tour across Colombia. We're talking traveling by bus, by boat, by train across the country. They even got completely stranded in Santa Marta when a promoter just up and ran off with their money. They literally only made it home thanks to the charity of a local governor. It was exactly this kind of scrappy survival instinct that forged the club's identity super early on. And you know what's really fascinating? Here's a crazy piece of trivia from that grueling 1931 tour. While on the road, some of the players watched a basketball game featuring a team called the Diablos Rojos, or Red Devils, and they wore these striking all-red uniforms. The America players absolutely loved the look, so they just adopted it. That one simple, random observation birthed their defining all-red identity and that fearsome nickname that they still carry to this very day. Section 2. La Maldición de Garrabato. The infamous curse. Okay, so we really need to understand the origin of this curse because it's wild. Back in 1948, Colombian football was becoming professionalized with the creation of the De Mayor League. Now, Benjamin Garrabato Urrea, who was a founding member, a dentist, and a former amateur player for the club, was fiercely, absolutely opposed to turning the team into a professional business. When the board went ahead with the professionalization completely against his wishes, his fury birthed the legend. As we heard at the very beginning, he allegedly cursed the team to never win a title. And you guys, for 31 years of professional football, that curse felt very, very real. Decades literally went by. The team struggled financially, they struggled on the pitch, just languishing while all their rivals celebrated championships. By the late 1970s, the club was just desperate. So in 1979, they took the curse so seriously that they brought Garrabato himself, along with the board of directors, right out into the middle of the Pascual Guerrero Stadium pitch. They held an actual formal mass and signed a document to officially exorcise the curse and break the spell. I mean, just think about the psychological weight that must have lifted from the entire club that day. It really shows you just how incredibly powerful shared belief can be within an organization. Section 3. El Pentacampeón Colombiano. So all of that desperation culminated in 1979. This year is known in club history as Aquel 19, which translates to that 19. Because it was on December 19, 1979, the exact same year as the exorcism, under the legendary manager Gabriel Ochoa Uribe, that America finally won their first professional championship. The exorcism seemingly worked. The sheer relief and joy were so profound that Aquel 19 actually became the title of a famous song that acts as an anthem for the fans today. And honestly, once the floodgates opened, they never shut. 15. That massive number represents their total First Division titles to date, completely transforming them from cursed underdogs into one of Colombia's absolute most successful and dominant clubs. But the real crown jewel within those 15 titles is an even more impressive statistic. 5. Between 1982 and 1986, América de Cali achieved something spectacular, the Pentacampeón streak. They won 5 consecutive domestic titles. It was just a golden age that established an absolute dynasty in Colombian football. So how did they pull it off?
Well, they built this star-studded roster featuring Willington Ortiz, Ricardo Gareca, Roberto Cabañas, goalkeeper Julio Cesar Falcone, and their all-time top scorer, Anthony De Avila. Look, this wasn't just a good team. This was an incredibly expensive continental powerhouse. They had assembled literally the most costly roster in all of South America at the time, importing massive talent from Argentina and Paraguay to play alongside the top Colombian stars. Section 4, Tragedia en Copa Libertadores, the international heartbreak.
Because as untouchable as they were at home, the international stage was a completely different, heartbreaking story. 4. That is the painfully high number of Copa Libertadores finals that América de Cali has lost. For context, the Copa Libertadores is basically the Champions League of South America. It's the absolute pinnacle of continental glory. And 4 times they reached the summit, only to watch the trophy slip right through their fingers.
And what's truly staggering is when these losses happened. 3 of these finals were lost in consecutive years. Just brutal. 1985 brought a heartbreaking loss on penalties to Argentinos Juniors. In 1986, they were defeated by Argentina's River Plate. And then 1987, well, the 1987 final is widely considered one of the most agonizing moments in football history.
Picture this. The 1987 final was the deciding third match against Uruguay's Peñarol, played in Chile. The game was tied, and a time meant América de Cali would finally be crowned champions of South America due to goal difference. The clock ticked to the 119th minute of extra time. They were literal seconds away. And then, with exactly 10 seconds left on the clock, Peñarol's Diego Aguirre broke through and scored. In 10 seconds, continental glory vanished. It was an agonizing blow that honestly left fans wondering if Garabatos' curse hadn't actually disappeared, but had simply moved from the domestic league to the international stage.
Section 5, Crisis, Descenso y Renacimiento, Surviving the Drought. As we move into the modern era, the club faced an opponent far more destructive than any team on the pitch. We have to talk about a very real, very serious external factor, La Lista Clinton. In 1996, the United States government placed the club on this blacklist due to financial ties linking the club's ownership to the Cali cartel. To be clear, this was a factual legal designation that had absolutely catastrophic consequences for the institution. Being on this list meant the club was completely blocked from the regular financial system. No bank accounts, 0 sponsorships from national or international companies. Nothing. The contrast here is just staggering. In the golden 1980s, this was a club defined by immense wealth and star-studded rosters. But as the sanctions took hold and stretched deep into the 2000s and 2010s, they entered a seriously dark era. They literally couldn't open a bank account. They had to survive on direct ticket sales and just selling jerseys to fans. This financial ruin completely eroded the foundation of the club, which ultimately led to the unthinkable. In 2011, after 57 years of playing in the top flight, the financial and administrative crisis finally caught up with them on the field. They lost a promotion-relegation playoff to a team called Patriotas on penalties. América de Cali, the mighty Pentacampeón, descended to the second division, the Primera B. They became the only historically massive Colombian club to suffer this fate. It was a profound shock to the entire nation. But here is where the incredible redemption arc begins. Step 1. In 2012, they underwent a massive administrative rebirth, restructuring legally as a brand new corporate entity, America SA, which eventually helps them get completely removed from the Clinton list in 2013. Step 2. After 5 agonizing years fighting in the second division, they finally won promotion back to the top flight in 2016. And Step 3. They didn't just survive being back. They conquered again, winning back-to-back championships, the Bicampeonato, in 2019 and 2020. The Red Devils had truly, against all odds, risen from the ashes. So we've seen their incredible rise, their agonizing falls, and their genuinely inspiring resilience. It really shows us the sheer power of collective belief. But I want to leave you all with a thought to chew on. Was Garabatos' curse truly broken on that pitch back in 1979? Or, considering those 4 brutal Copa Libertadores finals, including that heartbreaking loss with literally just 10 seconds to go, does the ghost of Benjamin Warrea still haunt their international dreams today? The mythos of América de Cali continues. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and always keep questioning the stories behind the stats.